What have you heard about how the Raptors are hoping to adjust your play as you, I guess, over the next few years here?
Well, the first thing that I heard is, they want to make me an all-star again. I'm going to be a big part of, what they do going forward. And I just want to, I want to come here and learn. I want to come here and be a sponge. At the beginning of the year, every time the schedule comes out, the first team we mark is Toronto. And I don't think it's ever for the team. It's always for the city. In New Orleans, the media coverage isn't great amongst the U.S. or global. I've been not talked about a lot. I've been injured a little bit, so, I've been forgotten a little bit. So I feel like, coming in Toronto, I have a good chance to, sprout a little bit. I just knew I needed a fresh start somewhere where guys played hard and, they listened. And I heard good things about Scotty. I heard good things about Quickly. And, I thought it was a good fit offensively and defensively. And, Darko had a play in that too.
I see that your guys are here, which I think is a showing of just how they're all here. Is there anything that you'd like to say to them of just your commitment to them, the way that they've obviously committed to you?
Well, I appreciate everybody for, welcoming me with open arms. Cole, that's going to be my dog. That's going to be my rook, Scotty, I appreciate him. I think he's going to bring the goofy side out of me.
While he hasn't been an all-star for 5 years, the same year he won Most Improved Player of the Year, Brandon Ingram's in the prime of his career at age 28 and is evidently hungry. Desperate to cement his name as one of the game's best in the association again where he feels he should be, Toronto may be the perfect place for the humble beast to showcase his talent. Brandon Ingram is very much in the prime window of his career, the blend of physical maturity, experience, and basketball IQ that usually peaks in a player's late 20s, and everything about his game screams ready now. He was born on September 2nd, 1997, which places him squarely in that 27 to 29 sweet spot where instincts and conditioning meet refined skill, and he's already got a rich sample size of playoff minutes and evolution as a primary option. That combination matters because prime years aren't simply about box score production, they're about how a player reads games, saves energy for the right moments, and stacks knowledge on top of athleticism. Ingram's shot-making, spacing impact, and ability to create for others have steadily improved year after year, which is exactly the kind of late 20s maturation that leads to career bests. It's not hyperbole to say that he's arriving at the sort of age and stage where superstars cement legacies. He has the usage, the polish, and now a new environment designed to amplify those traits. The Raptors are getting him at a moment when small gains in efficiency can translate into large swings for a franchise trying to reframe itself. If health and motivation line up, this is the season he should look and feel like the best version of himself on a nightly basis. Part of why the narrative around Ingram feels so electric is his stated hunger to return to all-star form after several seasons away from that level of recognition. His last all-star selection came in the 2019-20 season, which means a 5-year gap between that appearance and the present campaign, and players who want that return often use perceived slights or gaps in recognition as fuel. Ingram's shown in the past that he responds to challenges by expanding his repertoire, improving off-ball reads, pushing playmaking instincts, and taking on bigger burdens when circumstances demand it. There's a psychological element here too. A player in his late 20s who believes he still has untapped upside often has the most focused off-season work ethic because the margin for improvement feels real and immediate. The all-star ambition is not vanity, it's a measurable parameter of where he wants to be and the nightly level he expects of himself. For Toronto, that hunger is perfect. The franchise can give him a large canvas and a clearer path to headline roles and highlight moments. If he channels the drive that got him to all-star status once, the mechanics, the usage, and the team context are now in place for him to force the narrative back into the spotlight. Humility has been a storyline in Ingram's career, not the hollow kind, but the quiet, workmanlike humility that you see in players who let preparation speak for them. From his post-Duke reflections to multiple teammates and coach anecdotes, Ingram's public persona is one of introspection. He talks about staying hungry, staying humble, and doing the unseen work that gradually moves a player from good to great. That humility shows up in how he handles fame, how he accepts coaching, and how he keeps refining parts of his game that don't show up in highlight reels, footwork, spacing reads, and shot timing. Teammates often describe players like Ingram as low maintenance but high standards. They don't seek applause, but they demand repeatable excellence from themselves. That mentality is contagious in a locker room because it sets a bar without the dramatic ego swings that can fracture chemistry. Humble players also tend to have longer primes because they invest in ways that prolong careers, conditioning, recovery, and basketball IQ, rather than one-trick athleticism. If anything, Ingram's humility is an advantage. It makes him coachable, durable in the long run, and more likely to pivot his game when the team needs something different. One of the more pointed lines Ingram dropped at his introductory press conference was about media coverage in New Orleans not being really great, a candid moment that doubled as both explanation and motivation for why Toronto appealed to him. That quote offers real insight. He said publicly that he felt overlooked at times and that a move to a bigger market like Toronto is an opportunity to sprout, be seen, and have a platform that matches the level of basketball he believes he can play. The optics of that statement matter. When a player admits to feeling underappreciated and then lands in a market that treats basketball with a louder megaphone, it often sharpens their focus rather than blindsiding them with ego. The Toronto media and fan base can be intense, but they also amplify good performances quickly, which can elevate a player's confidence and endorsement of his own trajectory. More importantly, the stylistic fit in Ingram's presence for a faster pace and a culture he respects means the spotlight won't be a distraction so much as a stage. The combination of being better covered and being better supported by a system that accentuates his strengths creates a virtuous cycle. The more he produces, the more attention, the better the role clarity, and the more the team builds around what he does well. For a player motivated by reclaiming all-star status and proving skeptics wrong, Toronto's attention is a resource, not a risk. Beyond attention, the practical upside of a bigger market and new scenery is how it can unlock tweaks to his game that weren't possible in New Orleans. Cleaner offensive reads, different defensive responsibilities, and a coaching staff willing to tailor schemes to his strengths. A change of scenery matters for two reasons. First, it breaks bad habits that accumulate in stagnant situations. Second, it exposes a player to new teammates who can amplify specific skills. Ingram's skill set, high-end spacing, mid-range craft, and the ability to create late-clock isolation shots pairs particularly well with the Raptors roster that can surround him with a ton of cutters and secondary creators. Additionally, the mental reset of feeling wanted and knowing he's a foundational piece removes the uncertainty that sometimes hobbles performance. A focused, confident Ingram in a role built around him is more likely to push his usage into efficient territory rather than overextend in isolation-heavy slumps. Put simply, the city and the contract remove excuses, and that clarity tends to translate into better on-court growth. Finally, the storyline you want for a video, quote-unquote, Brandon Ingram will own the spotlight in Toronto, isn't just clickbait. It's a credible projection if you stitch together prime age, hunger, humility, and environment. Ingram arriving at 28 with renewed motivation, a big role, and a market that'll reward performance sets up a high ceiling arc. Nightly primetime showings, all-star conversations, and franchise-level expectations. The risks here are obvious: health, chemistry, and defensive fit. But they're manageable when compared with the upside of a player entering his true prime with every structural lever pulled in his favor. More than anything, this is a chance for Ingram to write a new chapter, from an excellent scorer who sometimes felt overlooked, to a marquee name who owns highlight reels and headline moments in Canada's biggest sports town. If he leans into his humility, leans into the work, and lets a supportive system accentuate rather than hide his strengths, Toronto could be the place he converts dashed potential into sustained greatness. That's not just a storyline, it's a realistic bet, and it's precisely the kind of narrative viewers tune in for.